I mean, dude, 8 2-minute rounds. That wasn't no fight,
14
man.
ounce, and Tim, 14-ounce gloves.
Come on, bro. I mean, come on. And dude, I just checked on BoxRec, and it's literally on Jake's resume, bro.
That's crazy. That's
Mike
crazy.
Tyson-
But Tim,
Boxing legends call out Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight, claiming it was more theater than sport. Simon Jordan slammed the public for fueling non-credible boxing events like Jake Paul's latest match, labeling them as freak shows. He pointed out how massive audience interest enables such spectacles and questioned their legitimacy as genuine boxing contests. Jordan emphasized that both the media and fans share responsibility for perpetuating these events, which stray far from the sport's traditional standards.
Well, there's a responsibility upon the boxing world to call it for what it is.
Yeah.
You know, we had some ridiculous reporting last week from people inside our building, Spencer and Gareth Davis out there running around telling everyone else it was a legitimate fight. And most people knew it wasn't. Frank Warren came on last week, said the same thing as I said, which I don't want to watch it. I don't think it's a credible situation. He shouldn't be in the ring. If people, Tony Bellew was saying yesterday that in part the public are responsible for this because they're the ones that have the appetite. They're the ones that put 75,000 bums on seats to watch that freak show on the weekend that wasn't even a proper fight.
Jim White challenged Jake Paul to either return to his YouTube roots or step into the ring with a legitimate, age-appropriate professional boxer to truly prove his skills. He openly questioned Paul's overall impact on the sport, calling into doubt whether his efforts benefit boxing in a meaningful way.
well, you would think, but we'd like Jake surely now just to go back to YouTubing, which is what he does.
No, I'd like him to go into a proper fight that's at that age and get filled in.
Tim Bradley drew a sharp contrast between Jake Paul's profit-driven approach and traditional promoters like Turki Alal Sheikh. He praised Alal Sheikh for prioritizing fans by sacrificing financial gains to deliver authentic, high-quality matchups. In contrast, Bradley criticized Jake Paul for exploiting boxing under the pretense of supporting the sport, highlighting his self-serving focus on profit over genuine competition.
Turkey a la Sheik and what he's doing? Or would you rather have Jake Paul and what he's doing? Because I'm telling you right now, what Jake Paul is doing is he's sacrificing, right? The boxers, the real boxers. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I'm going back to the press conference where you disrespected the fighters, Jake.
Yeah.
You're not a real fighter. Those guys are real fighters. That's what they are. True fighters.
Paulie Malignaggi criticizes Jake Paul's performance against Mike Tyson, describing it as a regression in his boxing skills. He highlights that Jake fought fearfully, failing to commit to his punches and appearing worse than in previous fights like his bout with Tommy Fury. Malignaggi expresses disappointment, noting that Jake's lack of improvement shows he isn't taking boxing seriously and suggests he should focus solely on promotions rather than fighting.
Honestly, Jake fighting? Bro, I've been a guy who's defended him more than others, bro. But Saturday, he was very, very disappointing. I picked him to win, and he's won, but the only reason he won is because Mike was basically log jammed into the ground, bro. He couldn't move to chase him down.
No balance, no legs.
Couldn't get to him. And that was bad, bro. If you're fighting scared shitless of a 58-year-old man who was on his deathbed 5 months ago, and you're look what he was non-committal to his punches. He was like, you know, again, you can carry somebody, you can halfway commit and stay right there. Now, Jake was throwing punches and jumping 40 feet back because he was so scared of what was coming back. That's not carrying somebody, guys. He can convince you morons, but people that have done it, we know how to carry somebody and not carry. Jake isn't good enough to carry anybody.
Nope.
But Jake
Nope.
honestly got worse. And that's disappointing to me because he's not actually committing himself to boxing now.
Timothy Bradley critiques the fight between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, pointing out its lack of authenticity due to the modified rules, such as 8 2-minute rounds and oversized gloves. He questions whether it should even be considered a legitimate boxing match, highlighting that the structure appeared more like a spectacle than a real competitive bout, diminishing its credibility in the context of professional boxing.
Dude, 8 2-minute rounds? That wasn't no fight,
14
man.
ounce, and Tim, 14-ounce gloves.
Come on, bro. I mean, come on. And dude, I just checked on BoxRec, and it's literally on Jake's resume, bro.
That's crazy. That's
It's
crazy.
But Tim, it's a sanctioned fight.
Tommy Fury criticizes the idea of legitimate world champions like Daniel Dubois, calling out Jake Paul for fights. He finds it embarrassing and inappropriate for unified or undisputed champions to challenge someone like Jake Paul, who is not at their level in professional boxing. Fury emphasizes that such matchups are unrealistic and reflect poorly on the sport.
Business-wise and commercial-wise,
secured the
mate,
bag.
it's unbelievable. And I ain't a guy to hate on other people. If someone's making £1 trillion, I'm going to say, well done, mate. And that's what I'm going to say to Jake Paul. Well done down the lens. It was a great commercial success. Both men got paid. I and Mike got paid. You know, no injuries happened, no one was hurt. You know, fantastic. But for the fans and everyone who thought it was going to be a fight, not including me, because I knew it was always never going to be a fight. But, you know, as far as the fans, I'm sure it's a letdown for them. But business-wise, great.
You almost have to kind of respect it from that element in that, like.
Mate, how can you not? How can you not, mate? Do you know what I mean? Like, if someone's making that level of money and not walking out with a scratch on them.
Tommy Fury criticizes the spectacle-driven trend in boxing, where influencers like Jake Paul are called out by legitimate champions such as Daniel Dubois. He dismisses such matchups as unrealistic, driven purely by financial motives, and expresses frustration over the focus on entertainment over authentic competition in the sport. Fury emphasizes his disinterest in discussing Jake Paul further, prioritizing serious boxing.
Jake Paul ain't fighting no Beterbievs, he ain't fighting Daniel Dubois, he's not fighting anyone like that.
But is it not even almost a little bit bonkers with our fans' head on, Tommy, that these guys are actually saying, I'll fight him?
Yeah, no, of course it is. You got world champions of the sport, legitimate, unified and undisputed world champions of boxing, calling out him. Like, at the end of the day, it made sense for me because I was at the start of my career and I've only would have been fighting a journeyman anyway. He was coming around for 4 rounds, pulling his hands up like that. So it made sense for me. But if I was an undisputed, unified champion of my division at the top of my game, I wouldn't give a fuck about Jake Paul.
Tyron Magnus addresses claims that the fight might have been rigged. After reviewing ringside footage, he dismisses these claims, asserting that the punches Jake Paul threw appeared genuinely aggressive and intended to harm Tyson. This moment reflects Tyron's perspective that the fight's outcome was authentic, even though the fight itself was highly controversial and upsetting for fans.
And I gotta say, after watching it, I truly think that this was not rigged. I think it was 100% real. Especially if you see the ringside footage, it looks more aggressive and devastating. It seemed like he was really trying to hurt Tyson a few times.
Michael Knowles discusses the debate about whether the fight was fixed in the context of public speculation. He suggests that even if there wasn't an explicit agreement, the significant age difference between Mike Tyson, 58, and Jake Paul, 27, inherently influenced the fight's dynamic, making it feel somewhat staged or unnatural to viewers. This perception was fueled by the lack of dramatic action or a knockout during the match.
He was obviously thinking, all right, I'm going to lose to Jake Paul. I don't know if it was fixed, in the sense that I don't know if they agreed Tyson was not going to do that uppercut or whatever. I don't know if it was fixed. I don't know in which way it was fixed. In a way, though, it was sort of fixed by nature. A 58-year-old versus a 27-year-old, it's just going to be a different kind of fight. It was just kind of fake. It all felt kind of fake.
Adam Smith didn't hold back his criticism of the Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul fight, describing it as the final glimpse of Tyson's fading aura. He pointed out that fans shouldn't expect the raw power Tyson displayed in his 20s, but called the event a sad and unsettling spectacle. Watching the legendary fighter overwhelmed by a much younger opponent left Smith deeply disturbed.
I guess slightly going down memory lane for the young generation to see the aura of Mike Tyson, but I'm afraid he was a 58-year-old man, and I think we all really knew beforehand that Jake would win on points, and that, Mike would be a very, very sad.
Lord Jamar critiques the Mike Tyson fight, pointing out moments where Tyson appeared to hold back, missing opportunities to deliver impactful punches. This fueled his belief that the fight was scripted for entertainment rather than being a genuine competition. He reflects on how such performances undermine the authenticity of boxing, especially when retired legends are involved in events seemingly designed for profit rather than athletic integrity.
Mike could have hit this dude and didn't hit him. You know what I mean? But then on the converse, people saying, yo, this dude Jake Paul was actually giving Mike some mercy. You know what I mean? Mike's legs was looking bad, and I think the whole thing was scripted. The whole thing was just a money grab.
Dan Patrick describes Jake Paul as a highly calculated and scripted individual who carefully plans his moves. He emphasizes that Paul meticulously handpicks his opponents to minimize risks, suggesting that his strategy is more about controlling outcomes and maintaining his image than engaging in genuine competition.
I hate to say that I agree, because Mike kept saying that, this is real, and then we had the slap at the weigh-in, and Ariel Helwani came on and said, hey, Mike has that look, and it's, scary. And his son said, oh my gosh, my dad has that look. And I think Jake Paul knew exactly. He strikes me as a scripted person. He knows what he's going to do. His risks are very, very calculated. That's why he handpicks these opponents. Yeah, Seton.
Patrick reflects on Mike Tyson's post-fight responses, noting their brevity and hinting that Tyson might have been playing a predetermined role. Patrick criticizes the event, describing it as more of an entertainment spectacle than a genuine boxing match. He questions the legitimacy of such fights.
It wasn't a boxing match, it was an event. And if you're fooled by it, disappointed by it, buyer beware. Jake Paul is a businessman. He knows exactly what he was doing. And Mike, to his credit, hitched his wagon to Jake Paul. And we just didn't see anything there.
Carl Frosch questions Jake Paul's claim that he held back against Mike Tyson out of respect, suggesting instead that Paul's performance lacked the skill or confidence to dominate the 58-year-old legend. Frosch casts doubt on Paul's ability, pointing out that his only legitimate professional fight against Tommy Fury ended in a loss. He concludes that the fight was a major disappointment, falling far short of the hype and expectations surrounding it.
But yeah, just, what was it, 8 2-minute rounds of watching Mike Tyson walk around the ring, do a couple of little slips and throw 3 or 4 punches against Jake Paul that really didn't want to engage, and I don't think he had the bottle to stand in front of Tyson and try and do anything to get him out of there. So the build-up, the main event, the whole event build-up, the fact that it's on Netflix, the fact that there was allegedly 30 million people watching it, that's all well and good. But the end result, the actual finished product, was a load of rubbish. It really was poor. It was crap. You're never going to watch that back again.
Oscar De La Hoya didn't hold back when sharing his thoughts on the Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul fight, admitting he felt disgusted by Jake Paul for orchestrating the matchup. He criticized the decision to pit a 58-year-old Tyson against a much younger opponent, considering Tyson's legendary status and the obvious age disparity. Reflecting on his own struggles with a boxing comeback at 48, De La Hoya emphasized the immense physical toll on older fighters. While he expressed pride in Tyson's resilience, he condemned Jake Paul for exploiting the situation for entertainment.
I felt, while watching it, I felt disgusted at Jake Paul for putting this together, knowing that Tyson was 58 years old. See, I'm a fighter myself, and I once tried coming back at 48 years old, and my body just shut down. So when you're gonna fight a 28-year-old like Jake Paul against Tyson, who is a legend, he's a national treasure, a world treasure, I felt a little disgusted. Not on Mike Tyson. I feel bad for Tyson, but you know what? I'm proud of Tyson. But Jake Paul, hey, if you want to fight Zurdo right now, let's do it, and he will knock you out.
Luke Thomas criticized Jake Paul's recurring strategy of choosing opponents who are either too old, inexperienced, or well past their prime, creating heavily one-sided matchups. While he acknowledged that fighters like Nate Diaz and Mike Perry brought some level of competitiveness, he felt the bout with Mike Tyson fell flat in delivering meaningful entertainment. Thomas argued that if Jake continues to stack the odds in his favor, he has a responsibility to ensure the fights remain engaging, something this matchup failed to accomplish.
The entire system that he has set up for himself is that he is going to sandbag. He's going to take on guys who are either way too old, who never boxed and are also far outside of their athletic prime, or some kind of way to hedge where they have a celebrity factor to their name, but no real competitive ability, or at least no real competitive ability to test him.
Jeremiah Milton voiced his disbelief and frustration over the Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight, questioning how such a matchup was even approved given Tyson's age of 58. He criticized both the audience and organizers for ignoring the inherent risks involved, rejecting the notion that it being a charity event made it acceptable. Milton argued that the fight lacked any real justification and called out the dangers of promoting these types of spectacles purely for entertainment.
Parallel universe, one of them slip pocket universes or some shit, because how the hell did we even get this fight? And why wasn't it more people like saying, yo, maybe this isn't a fucking good idea? You know what I'm saying? Mike Tyson at 58. Screw it. You know what I'm saying? Mike Tyson is Mike Tyson. He made his money. But I mean, look, we wasn't sold on no damn charity fight, good feeling. Oh, well, Mike, you got back in the ring. No, that's a man's fucking life. You know what I'm saying? He dies up in there and everybody's looking like, oh, what the hell happened? But, you know, respect to Jake Paul for not teeing off on him. But then it just made for a very lackluster event, you know, because people didn't know how to fucking feel. You could tell in the audience, you know what I'm saying? They were just looking like by round 4, people were like, holy shit, I just paid for this.
Eddie Hearn praised Jake Paul and his team for their promotional prowess, recognizing the event's massive success in ticket sales, audience engagement, and scale. However, he admitted that the entertainment-focused style of promotion doesn't align with his personal preferences. While acknowledging that others value views and content differently, Hearn emphasized that boxing is both a sport and a business, with no definitive right or wrong approach.
I don't look. It's not. I've said my piece. Do you know
I know,
what I
but
mean?
it's over and done with now. Come on, give us the real Eddie Hearn opinion on this.
Look, it was a great event. I knew I didn't like what I saw, and I knew I wouldn't like what I saw. But it's not. It doesn't have to be for me. You know. Look at how many people tuned in. Look how many people bought tickets. So I can't argue what they did. I just didn't want to watch it, and what I did watch, I didn't like seeing. But it was a huge event, and everyone's different. Some people are boxing people. Some people are about views and content, and it's no right or wrong. Do you know what I mean? Like, they don't have to respect the sport on the same level that other people respect the sport.
Ariel Helwani speculates that Jake Paul may have intentionally eased up in the later rounds to sidestep backlash for potentially knocking out a 58-year-old Mike Tyson. While it's uncertain if Paul could have finished Tyson, Helwani suggests that Jake deliberately slowed down, particularly in the final moments, to control how the fight would be perceived.
Mike Tyson knockout of Jake Paul. I think that's the only one that would have sufficed, and that wasn't happening. There was never really any doubt. He landed a couple punches early on, but there was never really a question as to whether or not that would happen. I think Jake carried him. I think Jake didn't want to knock him out. I'm not sure if he could have, but he definitely took his foot off the gas last couple rounds for sure. And ultimately, I'm okay with that.
Luke Thomas dismissed the notion that Jake Paul's restraint during the fight was a display of class, calling it a stretch to frame a promotional tactic as sportsmanship. He criticized the fight's one-sided setup, arguing that it lacked authenticity and competitive integrity. While viewers were relieved that Mike Tyson avoided serious injury, Thomas stressed that this shouldn't be celebrated as noble behavior by Jake, but rather scrutinized as a hollow spectacle.
I think people are overestimating Jake's skill level to a degree. I also think, not that he was exactly afraid of Mike, but I do think he was afraid of looking bad against Mike if he got some punches coming back his way and maybe got knocked down or just even off balance because he was trying to really put it on him. So again, I think it's a combination of factors, but the response afterwards to the comments that Jake made about carrying Mike are blowing my mind, and I really don't get it. I have seen people say, hey, Jake showed class in not stopping Mike Tyson. And I'm like, are you out of your mind? You're going to sane wash a ridiculous promoter trick as a show of class?
Thanks for watching. Let us know your thoughts on the Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight in the comments below. Was it a true clash of legends or just another publicity stunt? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more boxing insights and updates. Until next time, stay tuned.